It's been a while since I've talked about Vechain. Let's do some price analysis. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, make sure you have subscribed, hit the bell button, leave a like. Very, very soon, hopefully my face will be back on the screen. The office is getting better. Make sure you have also checked out my Patreon link below. Extra videos, extra content, all kinds of analysis in there. It's slowly building up. It's only been around for a few days, so make sure you are involved. Now, if you've been living under a rock, you probably, like most people, have not in crypto at the moment, and you're looking for things to buy. Vechain usually does pop up anyways on most people's suggestions. It's one of those coins. It is, in my opinion, one of the better coins out there. I used to hold this. I've taken profits and I've been out of it for quite a while now. But as I say, it's always on my radar. I always like to keep an eye on it. In terms of questions that I always get, wallets on this, I use Sync. So this is the Vechain wallet Sync. It's relatively good. It's mainly for desktop. I'm a desktop geek. I prefer using desktop wallets personally. Better for security and all that good stuff. Now, it's relatively easy to use. Make sure you check it out. You can also, if you are collecting, so basically, right, just random. If you're on Vechain, you also get V4. So if I go V4, this is the token that enables the utility of the sending, right? I had loaded this backed up somewhere ages ago and I found it, and it was worth like $3,000 at the time. It was pretty cool. I think it was roughly around the same sort of prices now. Pretty happy with it. Use it, utilize it, and if you want to make passive income, you can via basically, holding Vechain. You can get it even on Binance if you're holding it on Binance, so it's pretty cool. Anyways, just be careful, because I feel that the price action is relatively good right now. But that being said, Vechain's a rocket, and it always has been, and always will be. It's one of those coins that in a bullish sentiment market does very well. I often say that people recommend it because it is a real good, strong asset. The partnerships are brilliant. What's been built on it, all kinds of network adoption effect is already happening. And this is why we're starting to see it at roughly at a 12 cents price, but it has been much higher in the market sentiment. So we're going to look at both BTC and the world of USD. We'll look at USD first. The reason why I say that is because we have had a nice little pullback back up into some nice levels of demand. Now, it has hit resistance, which is fine, right? I'm going to go to this bottom, by the way, not this wick. Okay, cool, 14 cents resistance. But what it has done, it's formed a high. It's formed a high over this period here. In terms of the candles, body closure candles, it's a 3-day chart. I'm more interested in that. Now, what we need to look at now, levels. For me, we've got to keep an eye on this level for obvious reasons, what it is. And we've got to look at the obvious here as well, where we've just stopped and turned around. Key levels, right? Cool. And then what I'm going to do now, put that level because it will mess with my OCD, because I'm an idiot like that. Bin it. Boom. They're two levels of interest. Simple as that on the 3-day chart. Now, what we need to do now, look at this low, look at this high. Where can we go? Well, for me, it's kind of obvious where we can go. In my opinion, we could be looking a little bit lower here, roughly around that 11 cent mark, which is always going to be of interest. Now, if that is the case, even if you're looking at these bullish structures, even if we're going to pull back and go up, it's already mapped out the fact of this level could be one of interest. So they're already interesting levels alone, right? For me, though, moving forward, I do think that this is, for me, my personal opinion, undervalued in terms of network effect and the element of how it works. When you start thinking partnerships and utilization of the blockchain for the logistics part of this and where it could go much higher than where it has been if we are thinking adoption of cryptocurrency. I mentioned it a few months back, or even maybe a month back now. I did a video about you don't have to be an investor to win with this, because you might be utilizing cryptocurrency without realizing it. So obviously investors will win, but what I'm saying is not everyone has to invest to make it go up. That makes sense? Does that make sense? I hope it does. So you may find that all these brands utilize the blockchain technology that are going to benefit these coins, these assets, which is always good. So if we're looking at the overall structure, so if I go from this bottom area here all the way up to the top side, we're currently looking at this 618 level here as a potential area as a support ramp. This is where we're going to get to some sort of future predictions. What if we're going to moon from here. And what if we do absolutely hurtle towards the moon? What if we do go, well, what if this scenario, this is speculative by the way, we fly above all-time high and we go to here? It's possible. It's definitely possible. If this is one leg up, one leg down, what about if this is the third bigger leg? It's with the biggest impulse. That is all speculation, by the way. But what I'm saying is, it's definitely possible with network effect and growth and utility of the market in a bullish market. Potentially. Who knows, right? But let's look a bit more closer to home. In my opinion, where do I think we're going? Well, for me, I think we are going to go to this level here. I think this 20 cents level will be at some point tested. It's just a matter of time. When we start to consider the fact of where this is right now as a retracement, I still think this is in a real good proposition for an investor. If we're going to go from all-time high to current live prices, we're 56% down, which is pretty decent realistically. So definitely for me, if you were looking at, you know, buying this a couple of months back in May, April time, and you were like, oh, I missed the boat, and you weren't accumulating down here and where these levels were and where these wicks were landing, you should have been, in my opinion. Moving on to the BTC pair. Hello. This looks a bit more, in my opinion, more open, more understanding of what the nature is. We'll go from the obvious, this low, to this high, and that's where we are right now. We roughly went towards a 618, didn't fully submerge below it, and we're now popping to the upside, which is always an important level. So if we're looking at levels here of investment, already you can see the big, massive confluence with chart structure in the past. Huge levels here. And again, if we wanted to repeat this and this situation of obvious kind of, oh, it's simple TA, just below that 382 there, we've got this wick, we've got wick. Yeah, that is a definite level of entry and an obvious rejection. Moving on, the obvious here, again, go from the high into the low. Where are we at? Well, guess what? We're right at that rejection point. Kind of obvious, really. And we've got another level here. Multiple taps in and around this region. Now, if I go to this, the daily time frame, consolidation band, all the way up and an obvious rejection. So guess what we're going to do, boys and girls? We're going to map that out as well, because why not? It's easy. Technical analysis, when you're looking at structure, is relatively easy when you've got Fibonacci points to give you an idea of where levels could be as an investor. And if you are looking at certain levels as target zones, that could be a target zone for you. Now, moving on into the world of, well, it's up to you really. If you're looking at this low into the high, again, in between the middle, we've got roughly that level. So we could be looking at a very, very simplistic kind of way of looking at this. If this is going to hit the 618, for example, here, and we are going to pop off, we could well be looking at that as the next wave, the next impulse wave from this correction going forward, which for me, overall, fundamentals, all that kind of good stuff, could get interesting. So there you go. That is as simple as it can be. If the dominance chart is going to continue going down as well in terms of BTC dominance, just to give you a pointer on that, we may well see this go to the upside, which is always good. As I say, structure is key, and this is what we're looking at right now. And this has hit a level of resistance, well, just a bit. It's a little bit lower than where it should have been, but it has hit some level. And now we're melting. We're melting through that level. So it may well be a very, very good bullish case for Vechain and other coins around it. That could mean that this will go up in terms of levels of structure. So it's important to know.